2 Peter chapter 1, verse 21 says, "For no prophecy was ever produced by the will of man, but men spoke from God as they were carried along by the Holy Spirit." Now, here in chapter 11, verses 1 to 35 are past history for us. As I said, they're future for Daniel as he wrote them, but they're past history for us. And then verses 36 to 45 are still future. Verses 36 to 45 describe the Antichrist. And as we move through this chapter, I'm going to summarize kind of a lot of it. Otherwise, we'll get bogged down in the details of the history of it and all of the, the names and the dates and the names of the battles, and you'll feel like you're sitting in your freshman Western civilization class that you didn't want to take anyways, but you were required to take, and I'll just end up, wah, 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 just droning on up here. But if you're into that kind of thing, which I am, so I have to really restrain myself with this stuff because I know not everybody's like me. You can get a commentary, you can get a Bible handbook that will go through in detail who these people are that are being described here, who the kings are, the battles that are taking place. All of it is recorded for us. It's history. So look at verse 1. It says, "And in the first year of Darius the Mede, even I, stood up to confirm and strengthen him." If you remember from chapter 10, this is an angel that is speaking to Daniel. And last week in chapter 10, we talked about how there's this spiritual battle taking place in the invisible realm. And here this angel that is speaking tells us that he stood up for Darius the Mede and strengthened him as king in the spiritual realm, in that spiritual battle that is taking place. "And now I will tell you the truth. Behold, 3 more kings will arise in Persia, and the 4th shall be far richer than them all. By his strength, through his riches, he shall stir up all against the realm of Greece." So the angel tells Daniel that 3 more kings will arise and rule over the Persian Empire, and the 4th king will be far richer than them all. Now, we know historically the names of all these kings. We know the 4th king was Ahasuerus. He's the king from the time of Esther. Esther chapter 1 tells us that he reigned over 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia. Esther chapter 1 verse 4, listen to this, tells us he threw a party that lasted for 180 days, and the purpose of the party was to show off his great riches and his great wealth. And it took him 180 days to show off all of his riches. How long would it take you to show off all of your riches? A few minutes? Here's my bank statement. Here's my cars. Here's my house. Although I still have a mortgage, it's typically, it's actually debt. I've got some furniture. I've got some old tools out in the garage. That's it. That's my riches. Well, for Ahasuerus, the king, it took him 180 days to show off all of his riches. Again, we're told here, this prophecy that the 4th king will be richer than them all. And then look at verse 2 again. It says, he shall stir up all against the realm of Greece. Again, we know historically that Ahasuerus, the king of Persia, invaded Greece. We know he invaded Greece with an army of 2,641,000 men. And after 8 months of fighting, the Persians returned home without a victory. They didn't win. And so they go back to Persia. Verse 3 now says, "Then, after this Persian king stirs up all against the realm of Greece, then a mighty king shall arise, who shall rule with great dominion and do according to his will." This mighty king who shall arise is Alexander the Great of Greece. And Alexander the Great actually used the Persian invasion to rally the people of Greece to go to war, seeking vengeance against the Persians. And just as verse 3 says, Alexander ruled with great dominion and acted according to his own will. And we've talked about Alexander the Great before in our study of the book of Daniel. In Daniel chapter 2, Alexander's kingdom was represented by the section of bronze in the statue, if you remember the statue from chapter 2. In chapter 7, he was represented by the leopard, with the speed in which he spread his empire. He was one of the greatest rulers in history. He conquered all of the known world from Europe to India by the age of 32. In just, I think, 11 years, he conquered all of the known world. Verse 4 says, "And when he has arisen," speaking of Alexander the Great, "his kingdom shall be broken up and divided toward the four winds of heaven, but not among his posterity, nor according to his dominion with which he ruled, for his kingdom shall be uprooted even for others besides these." It says when he is arisen, meaning when Alexander was at the height of his power, he died. And his kingdom was broken up into four parts. It was divided among four of his generals. Notice his kingdom was not divided up among his posterity. At the time of Alexander's death, he had one illegitimate son, and his wife was pregnant. And those were the only heirs that he had. After his death, his illegitimate son was murdered, and his pregnant wife was murdered, leaving no posterity, no heirs.